Hey everybody, welcome back to another Flea Market Finds episode. This is going to be another episode about tool scores, and we're going to start out with just a small handful of items that I picked when I went and picked up the Walker Turner bandsaw. Those of you who have missed it, I posted a video with just a quick sneak peek at a Walker Turner metal cutting bandsaw that I picked up, a real early one in really rough shape, but I couldn't resist. I'd been looking for a larger metal cutting bandsaw for my workshop, and this one came along and I decided to take a chance on it. So we're going to see how that turns out. But while I was there, I looked around and I spotted a few other items, and I was able to negotiate on these, and I got those items. So we're going to knock those items out real quick. It's just a small handful of items. Then we're going to do a bag of stuff that I picked up at the used tool store in the city about two or 3 weeks ago. Got some nice little finds in there. And then we're going to take a quick look at just a couple of boxes that came in. One came in quite a while ago, and I just never get around to opening it because I know what's in there and I don't need it right now, but I might find use for it sooner than later. And the last box just came in last week. Came in from Alaska. Somebody who's bought some tools from me in the past decided that they wanted to purchase my Aloris CA tool post because I recently acquired a CXA tool post off of eBay, which is more in line with the size 14-inch swing lathe that I have. The CA was kind of oversized for that, and he was happy to take the CA off of my hands for a good deal. And in turn, part of what he gave me back was some extra CXA holders he had, so now I'll have more holders for that tool post. As always, I just request that if you are enjoying these videos, please hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. So I went to look at the bandsaw after I saw the condition it was in and saw some damage that hadn't been alluded to in the original description that I saw online, and gave them my offer on the bandsaw. He explained to me that he had to go and check because he said it was on consignment. So he went into the office, and before he went in the office, I spotted a shelf over in the corner, and there was a bunch of stuff on the shelves, and I could see this surface gauge with an indicator on it. And I said, "Is that stuff over in the corner there up for sale?" And he said, "Sure, yeah, go ahead, take a look." So I went over and took a look, and I spotted the surface gauge, and I don't need any more surface gauges. The main thing I was interested in was what the indicator was, and sure enough, I took one look at it and realized, oh, what we've got here is a pretty nice indicator. This is a 0.5 thousandths per division indicator. It's an interrapid, and it's in really good shape. The dovetails are perfect. The case, the enamel on the case looks fantastic. This is a very nice, clean indicator in really good shape. The bezel doesn't have any damage. Crystal looks great. I'm actually surprised it's as good as it is, because the fact that it's sitting here on this indicator and they didn't have the box, the case for this. I'm going to have to go and look and see what I've got. If I've got an interrapid with a box that's not as nice as this one, I might swap it out. But it works perfect. This is a model 312B-2 for anybody who was wondering. And it's a really nice indicator. So when I first asked about this indicator with the stand, knowing full well I didn't really want to give much at all for the stand, I forgot what he had told me, but I thought, wow, you know, that's not going to probably work for me price-wise. I figured that we were going to be too far apart. So initially I was thinking to myself, I probably won't even be able to make an offer on it. But then I went around and I found some other items, and in particular, these V-blocks. And unfortunately, again, another issue, no clamps for these V-blocks. But I like this style of V-block, and I have a pair similar to these now. And I decided to make an offer of 20 bucks on these V-blocks, and he accepted my offer of 20 on the V-blocks. So then I realized, well, we could maybe work on some things here. And then I came across this, okay, which is a coaxial indicator, and again, I forgot how much he had on this. It was quite a bit. But then these guys actually aren't in the business as machinists. They're in the business more as tool dealers, and they somehow came into this lot of machinist tools. And I was able to point out to him that this is broken. So, and I mean, it's really got something bad going on with it, because this is not supposed to flop like this, because what has happened is this post, this center shaft, is not able to move back in like it's supposed to. It's jammed out. So I have no idea right off, at the moment, what's going on with this thing. This shaft is supposed to be able to turn freely inside this housing. And I could put quite a bit of force on this and it won't budge at all. So that is really messed up. But once he agreed with me that the thing was broken and, it was going to need some sort of a miracle, he agreed to take my offer of $20 on this. And I think what I ended up doing was I ended up getting him to agree to take $80 for the lot. So I figure I'm into this for $20 for this broken coaxial Blake, which, by the way, in case you didn't notice, this is a Blake coaxial. This is the best brand name in coaxial indicators. And, it's got the original rod and one point. And, I mean, just for parts, this is worth the $20. And I'm basically into this for $40. Now, I can't find a maker's name anywhere on this surface gauge. It's got, to be cleaned up. The pins aren't frozen. I don't think it's a project shop made one. It looks actually more like it might be production piece, factory made, especially since the quality or the look of the clamping nuts here. But it might be like a generic. But I figure it's probably still worth $15-20 maybe. So that means I'm into the very nice Interrapid here for about $25, which is well worth it. So let's look at these V blocks, because these are kind of interesting. So when I first saw these V blocks, I was going by memory. I thought they were identical to a pair I already have, and this is a pair of V blocks that I bought years ago at an estate sale. I actually wasn't the first guy through the door, and the guy who was first through the door, he made a deal to buy the entire, it was a Kennedy toolbox rolling cabinet with a mid cabinet and an upper cabinet, all three tool chests, an upper chest, a riser, and the base cabinet. And I had been striking up a conversation while I was in line with him and had convinced him to let me purchase a couple of items out of the box after he bought it, paid for it, and brought it outside into the driveway and was loading it into his truck. One of which was an Interrapid vertical faced indicator that I had wanted one of those styles. I hadn't owned one previous to that. It was the first one I bought, but it was broken. I still never did get around to sending that out because I was able to acquire another one that was working, so it's just kind of been sitting around. But I bought that from him for $40, and then I also bought from him this pair of V-blocks. It is a pair. I just only took one out to show you guys what it looks like. So you can see it's very similar in design to these. Now, what's great about this design is you can see how the clamp works, okay? And instead of like a conventional V-block clamping on the outside, this clamps internal to the side. So what that allows you to do is this. If you have a need to do that, you can actually, these are precision ground sides, so you can actually play around with the position of this thing. And it makes it really versatile. Now, the only markings I could find on this block are PPSC. So the C is small, so that probably stands for company. So it's PPS company, 90 by 70 by 125. So this must be millimeters. So they're precision metric V blocks. I have found these online, used occasionally. Matter of fact, there's one on eBay where it's just the one single block. It's got an opening bid of 20 bucks. I don't know how much it's going to end up selling for. But these are actually pretty nice. You know, they're not fantastic. There's also another number on here, 734. So I don't know if that denotes anything about who makes these or not. But I digress. So let's fast forward to this pair I got for 20 bucks with no clamps. Well, the beauty about these is that when I got them home and looked at them, under this dirt and grime here on the end, very, very hard to see, it actually has a identifier. And what it is it says TTC VBF4. So the TTC VBF series of V-blocks are actually still available. You can buy them today. The VBF-4, which are these, actually sell with, of course, the clamps, new, for just under $200. They're considered a matched precision set. The VBF, the -4 designates that these are 4 7/8 of an inch long by I think 3.5 wide by like 2 3/4 tall or something like that. But anyways, so really nice set of V-blocks I have here. Problem is no clamps. Well, as luck would have it, the replacement clamps are still readily available. I found multiple sources online. Everybody pretty much wants the same thing. They want $32 for a set of replacement clamps. The clamps that I have for the PPG or P whatever they are do not fit this, which I guess I'm not surprised. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm probably going to end up selling my precision metric set of PP whatever clamps. I keep forgetting. And I think I'm going to order a replacement set of clamps for these and keep these for myself. But anyways, I just thought I'd show these. So if you ever see these style of V-blocks, the dead giveaway, very unique. I think there's only one other company that I've seen that has this design, and it's a company called Flex Bar that sells a V-block with this design where the clamps are able to be completely internal to the sides of the V-block, allowing you again to do this kind of thing. So here's a package that's been sitting around here for a while now. Basically what's in here is a freebie, and it was offered to me with the understanding that I would just pay for the priority mail shipping on this box from New York to me, and threw in an extra couple of bucks there, beer money or whatever we call it, right? So when I first got this, or decided to take this, so what's in here is pretty heavy. I mean, you know, relatively speaking for the size of the box. So he did a really good job of using this fiber reinforced tape to bind it all around this way several times, and then he used something I've never seen before. It's almost like strapping, it's plastic strapping. I'm not familiar with that. He must have some sort of he must do enough shipping that he's got some kind of fancy doohickey to take care of that. But he knew, as I do, that anything heavy like this, sending it in one of these flat rate priority mail boxes is always sketchy. I kind of know what's in here, but it's been so long since he described it, I don't remember exactly what we're looking at. Man, I do not like that X-Acto handle. That does not stay secure. I can't quite make it out, but it says the Something Chuck Company of Toledo, Ohio. I'm sure if I Google it, I can figure out who makes it, but I'm just really not that curious, quite frankly. It's got a it's got an interesting backing plate on it here. So I don't know how many TPI that is. It might fit a South Bend though. So interesting thing about this is that since I got this chuck a while back and hadn't opened it, I acquired those two little lathes that I haven't even done anything with yet. For those of you who aren't aware, I picked up two more little lathes a while back. Some of you who watch all of my videos closely may have encountered sneak peeks at those lathes, where I was walking past them as they sat quietly rusting. It's funny, these little packing peanuts or styrofoam things, some of them are just smushed completely flat from the chucks banging around in there, the weight of the chucks crushing them. So, okay. So this one, a little bigger. This smells good. I don't know why, but I just opened this up and I'm getting the faint aroma of smoked sausage. Okay. Looks like it might be something a little nicer. This is a Union Manufacturing Company of New Britain, Connecticut. So it's another early one. Gotta be. Made in the USA, 6-inch, number U770. Looks like the same mount, same size mount. Now, for those of you who don't know, this type of three-jaw chuck, it's a scroll chuck. So there's actually a mechanism in here so that when you turn this one point right here, all three jaws will ride in a track on a scroll that will cause the jaws to go in and out together in unison. So the problem is, because the backside of the chuck jaws actually have curved teeth that ride in that scroll, you can't just take these out and reverse them. So what I was saying was, the problem is you can't just take the jaws out and reverse them to grab something with the outside. So in other words, you can grab up to a certain diameter with the jaws on the inside here, right? And then if you have like a cylinder or something that's hollow, you could grab it on these outside lands right here, right? But more versatility is if you could reverse the jaws, which like on like on one of my chucks and some other chucks, there's actually a couple of screws that you can take out, so you can the part of the jaw that actually engages the scroll stays behind, and all you have to do is take the screws out, flip them around, and put the screws back in, and you've reversed your jaws. But on older ones like these, traditionally what would happen is they would come with a second set of jaws, the inside and the outside jaws. So what's nice about what he told me about this, and what's probably in this package right here, is that he has the other set of jaws for this. Oh, and the key. Oh, it looks like he's got the key for both of these. So there we go. I can show you now what I was talking about. You see there's a curve to those, which is why you can't reverse them. And judging by the curve, these have to go like this. So these are the outside jaws. So that was nice of that gentleman to give me these chucks for basically nothing. Oh, now I know how Keith Rucker feels, huh? Well, maybe not quite. So I can't show you his name because I don't have permission to, but I just wanted to show when I opened up the box here. Nice job he did packing this. He used empty small priority mail flat rate boxes as cushions. So this is a gentleman who also knows about what happens to heavy packages in the hands of the post office. And he folded up a flat rate envelope, cardboard envelope, into not like another cushion in the bottom there. Well done. Well done packing job there. He used what looks to be electrical tape here, vinyl tape, to make sure this didn't open. And then he individually wrapped each one of the holders, 3 of them. Each one of these 3 holders he individually wrapped in cardboard and taped up, again with vinyl electrical PVC tape. This is a Shars brand, probably comparable to a CXA1. So it's an import, Chinesium 250-302, but it's in excellent shape. It's just, it's dirty, but it's really good condition. I believe that as far as the actual tool post itself goes, I believe the quality, that there's a difference in quality that's discernible between like an Aloris and a Shars, or an Aloris and a Phase 2. But when it comes to the holders, I don't know whether or not that would really hold true so much with the holders, because they have pretty much 0 moving parts. This is a genuine Aloris holder. It's a CXA. This one, he pretty much said he was throwing this one in. The reason why he's throwing this one in is because he doesn't have any of the hardware. There's actually supposed to be a clamp that screws onto here and holds down the insert. So this is a CXA 16, and I went and looked online, and you can buy this hardware, but it's prohibitively expensive, so I don't know if I'm going to end up doing that or not. But it is kind of a nice holder anyways. And he basically, like I said, he was throwing it in because I was purchasing the other ones. So I ended up, really ended up paying $25 a piece for these 2 holders here. This one and this one. And I may buy more from him. I've got to actually take a look and see what I've got. Oh, this is brand new. This is an unused, probably Phase 2 or something Chinesium. This one's marked 250-301T. That's brand spanking new. I think some of these are brand new, can be bought for like 20 bucks, but don't forget, if I buy them for 20 bucks, I got to pay the shipping on top of it anyways, you know. And like I said, he threw in this Aloris holder right here. This is actually a pretty pricey holder, and it might be worth it for me to invest in actually getting those pieces. Unfortunately, I just missed on eBay. I think somebody was selling, had an auction for 1 or 2 of these that go on here. Well, this is a very pricey holder. Unfortunately, though, it's missing quite a few parts. It's missing a shim that goes underneath the insert. This uses TPG inserts. It's missing the screw that holds the shim in place. It's missing the chip breaker on the top and the screw for the chip breaker. And it's missing the height adjustment stud and knurled knob there. So this I could rob off of another holder probably. That's not the big deal, but this stuff here, the chip breaker and everything like that. So that's all available from Aloris, but I shudder to think what Aloris is gonna gouge me for those little tiny parts. But it might still be worth it because this is such an expensive holder new, and it would be nice to have a turning and facing holder that takes TPG inserts. So the part number for the shims is SM-41, and they're here on Amazon. They're $14.51 a piece for that tiny little triangle of metal. And luckily on the Aloris website, you can order it direct from Aloris for under $10. They're like $9.41, which is still ridiculous for what that is. And that's just the shims. Oh yeah. The price on the chip breaker, which is part number 1-R for the right hand one and 1-L for the left hand one, so you need one of each. On the Aloris website, they're $29.70 a piece. So round that up to 30 bucks. And then the shims, 40. Needed for both sides, that's 80, and we still haven't bought the little screws. All right, so let's dive right into the stuff from the used tool store. What I mainly wanted to get was these two mag bases right here. These are both Starrett 657s. They're in pretty decent shape, actually. This one's a little bit rougher than this one. You got to pay 20 bucks a piece for these. So one of the things that's nice about these is that they're complete with the clamps. Sometimes, you know, you just end up picking just a stand with just this clamp on it or nothing at all, missing the cross rod or whatever. These are both complete, so these are ready to go to work. So I got the pair of those. I got two Starrett thread pitch gauges in their original boxes. This one says it's number 156, but the box actually says that it's a 156M, which would indicate that it's a metric screw pitch gauge. So I don't think I have a Starrett metric screw pitch gauge. I think I have a like a Craftsman or something, or some other brand name in metric. But I'll probably still just sell this one because it's Starrett. It's got the Starrett name has more resale value, and for the small amount of times that I need a metric thread pitch gauge, I'm perfectly fine with the other brand that I have. I don't even remember what it is. This one is a number 4, so this is just a regular 4 to 20, I believe. 24 pitches, 4 to 30. That's nice. Let's get the original box, even though the box is rough. It's been around for a while, but it's still a good usable gauge. Another radius gauge set. I picked this at 10 bucks. This is an S167B. So this is not as big a set as I typically have had in the past. This only has the larger size radiuses in it. So it's only got the 8. It's also missing the holder. So I'm guessing that maybe they offered a S167A that had the small sizes in it. But I've had I think it's an S167M, which is like the two sets combined in one pouch. The rest of this stuff here was picked from his bins of just random stuff that are so many dollars per item. I do remember that this was in the $6 bin. What it is it's a Starrett, I think it's a 198 indicator. Check that. It's a 196. So it's a Starrett 196 that was just loose in that box full of junk for $6. It's not frozen. It's not broken. It's just sticking really bad. It probably just needs a really good cleaning. And the crystal here, if you change that, you know, if you clean this up and change the crystal, it's actually a pretty nice indicator. I'm probably just going to sell it as is. Probably wouldn't take too much to clean this. I keep going out of frame. Sorry about that. But anyways, the button back 196 indicator for $6. This pile of stuff here was picked out of the $2 bin. This was this is a Sandvik Coromant made in Sweden stone, brand new. I don't see any marks on it at all. C400. Couple of used key seat cutters, but they look like they're in decent shape, especially this one. Center drill, a long one. This is a number 6 by 6 inch. Have no idea who makes it, but it's in excellent shape. I have tons of center drills, but because of the extra length on this one, I thought it might be handy at some point to have some more of these. I think the last time I was at the used tool store, I was picking through those bins and I found some parallels that I thought were just homemade parallels, and when I looked at them closer, I think they ended up being Brown and Sharps. Well, this week ended up picking these out of there, and these are also marked on the end with the size, but on the opposite end they're marked by the maker and they're Taft Pierce. So it's a little hard to see, but the bottom one's marked with the size, and then the top one actually says Taft Pierce. And I believe I picked this Starrett Wiggler without any other accessories, just the Wiggler all by itself. I picked this out of the $2 bin, $2 or $4 bin, I don't remember which. But it is a Starrett, it's a Wiggler, you know. I'll probably turn around and sell it for $5. And then I don't really need any more end mills, but high-speed steel especially. But these were brand new, and they're made in Japan, so they're imports, but they're probably a better quality import than the Chinesium. So I'm not going to even open these because they're still sealed. But these are, well, it's a 1/2 inch diameter, 3/8 inch shank, 2F, so it's a 2 flute. This is diameter 4. I don't know what that is. 3/8 shank. Well, that's odd. This says diameter is 4 inch. I don't know why it would say that. Overall length 2 5/16 inches. That's possible. And it says it's a 2 flute. That's about it. And this says it's a 6 inch diameter. Yeah, right. This one is open, but it's brand new. You can tell it's never been used. It's a 4 flute, 1/2 inch shank, 5/8 diameter. And this one also open, but brand new, never used. 4 flute, double-ended, 1 3/8 LC, 5/8 shank, 5/8 inch diameter. I think I paid $2 a piece for the end mills, for all of these end mills, and also these. It's a big 2 flute. This one says it's a Brown and Sharp. Son of a gun, it sure is. Got the Brown and Sharp logo right on it. Oh, that's kind of neat. That's got to be brand new old stock. This one says TRW, and that's what it is, TRW. This is actually made in Japan also, even though the box says TRW, the actual manufacturer is. I don't think that tube is for that. I think maybe that is a used one. Well, anyways. And I got this out of the $4 bin. And what this is this is a this is an early rethreading set. It's missing one size. So what these are, these kind of act like taps for repairing mildly damaged threads on a stud. So, you know, you're working on an engine, whatever, and you damage the ends of the threads, and you want to repair them. And supper's ready. All right, well, I was pretty much finished anyways, guys, so we're going to call that a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you do enjoy these type of videos, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Take care.